Okay, greetings again. In this demo, I'm going to show you how to use Gimp to use some blending modes like you'd use in Photoshop. And again, in Gimp, adjustment layers aren't a reality yet. I showed you adjustment layers in Photoshop during class. So I'll show you a way around that in Gimp. Okay, so step one, let's go ahead and go into the program here. And we'll set up our file before we do anything else. Okay, so File, New, or Control-N is your shortcut. Since we're working with a magazine cover, we're going to switch to inches. And the size of this project is 8.5 by 11 inches. Click OK, and there's your document, there's your canvas. So step one is to get some photos in there. So I did create some photos for this project, and it's the personal magazine cover. So let me click into here and just grab one of my photos here. I think these are two different sizes. I'll grab this one since it's the wrong size. And you'll see here it asks you if you want to convert the color mode here, the color profile. Let's just keep it. Doesn't really change, so we're good there. And notice here that our canvas is larger than our picture, so I have to resize this. I'm just going to use the resize tool up here. This is what it looks like. The scale tool. Just click on your document and then you get your handles. I'm just going to grab the corner and go up as far as I can. Now it scales it. Now I can grab it and bring it this way. And let's try that again. Another way you can do is hold down Shift and it'll just adjust that ratio, the width here. And oh boy, it looks like I've gained a lot of weight, haven't I? Well, let's lose that weight right now. I'm looking better. I got to keep walking and eating right. There we go. That's a little better. All right. So you can click scale or hit enter, and there we have an 8.5 by 11 image. I'm also going to bring in this Persian rug because I like the pattern, and drop that in as well. And notice there that one needs scaling too, so no problem, just click there. And you can go up in the corner a little bit or go off to the sides. Hold down Shift here and it'll just adjust the width. Again, Shift and then click the mouse and drag. Same thing there. And one more. And you can click scale or enter, is fine. Alright, so it looks like I missed a little there. No worries, just grab that, hold down Shift. Done. Okay, so now we have two great layers here. We've got a nice looking Persian rug, and we've got my ugly mug there. And we have a background layer. I just leave that one there just in case I need an extra layer for whatever reason. So here on the Persian rug here, I'm going to click on this layer, and now I can go up here and where it says mode. These are your modes here for blending. Okay. Now notice in Photoshop you had a fill that you could adjust. Here you don't. You only have the opacity and transparency slider. So you are limited a little bit on the tools here. But here, if I click here, I can go from normal mode to let's try addition. So if I click addition, you can see there that it's blending the two, but it looks kind of funky. It's pretty light and faded around it. I can also bring the opacity down just to have it peek its head through and give it a little bit of texture, let's say. That looks kind of cool like that. So you can see the textures working through the picture, but the picture's the dominant image here. So I could do it like that, or I could, of course, bring that back up. Try another mode here. Let's try linear burn. Now look how dark that is. Again, you can pop that back if you want and just create a nice effect where your image is contrasting with the background around it. So that looks kind of cool. Okay, so I can go and grab that, adjust that. And here's a cool thing. Once I have this done, I can actually add more to this just by adding a new layer based on this one beneath it. So if I go up here to layers, I can click here and I can do new from visible. Okay, all that's going to do is create a new layer of what it sees here. So it's going to create a flattened layer of what's beneath it. Okay? And so there it is. Now on here I can also change the mode as well. Actually, that didn't work. Let me delete this and try that again. So from here, you go up to Layer, do New from Visible, and there it is. Okay? So if I turn these off, you can see that that layer is the same as the ones beneath it. So now I can just play with this layer, make it destructive, destroy this layer without destroying the originals. So that's always a good idea. Now here I can add another blending mode to this to blend in with these beneath it. Okay, let's say we want to add now, we added, let's try overlay now. And now you can see it changes it even more. Not always for the better, but you can see that it added a little more of the texture in there and brightened that up, which I think is kind of cool. Let's try another one here. Saturation. Now I'm using the legacy modes. You can switch those out right here. See, it says switch to another group of modes. Just click there and now you can go to the default modes. These are the more these are included in the newer versions of the program. Here's linear light. Again, if I bring that up too much, it's way too dark. But scale back the opacity and you might get some good effects. That's too dark. Let's go down and try luminance. So luminance is cool in that it added a little bit of destructive artifacts there. But again, you can dial it back but still bring out some detail that might not otherwise have been there. Okay, and you can just sort of barely see a little texture being added to the picture. So I kind of like that, so I might leave that, or maybe even bring it down a little more. We could try chroma too. That's kind of an interesting one, and bring up the opacity. See, it does, some of them just blend right in, and you just have to pick the right ones. Okay, color there kind of changes it up a little bit, very subtle. But that looks kind of nice right there. So I could leave that if I want. And then I could do the same thing up here. You know, go to Layer. New from Visible. Boom, it pops up here. Now I can just go ahead and destructively edit this layer's colors. So Layer, Colors, my bad. Hue, Saturation. And now I can just go in and manipulate certain colors. Let's say I want to manipulate the green in this. So just click G for green there. Now if I change the hue, now I'm eliminating the green. So my image looks a little more present. Okay, that's kind of neat. And notice there it didn't get all of it here, which is kind of interesting. You can saturate it even more, or you can pull the saturation too. That's kind of a neat effect right there. So I could pull the saturation there. Now I can go on to the reds, let's say. Same idea. Adjust those if I want. If I'm going for complementary colors, for example. Or something completely different, right? Maybe I want to keep the cooler colors. You know, or I could just, or if I just want to tone down the red a little bit. See, the red looks pretty good there because it's kind of complementing the other colors. Okay, and that's kind of a way around not having adjustment layers. You go up to, you know, each time you add something, you go up and add a new layer. Now when I turn this off, the other layers are still untouched underneath. But notice there I've enhanced it a little bit with the, again, layer, and then you add new from visible, like so. And this can go on and on and on. Again, so I can do the same thing with this now. Layer, new from visible. Now I've got an extra one of the layers beneath it. And now here I can add another texture if I want. Let's say I want to add this one right here. Or no, let's do one that's vertical so I don't have too much adjusting to do. This one looks cool. Maybe I'll adjust this, bring this one in. Now you can see it's really small, so that's easy adjustment. I'll just scale it. Again, just grab the corner. And let's see if we can bring this over. This here allows you to move this little box in the center allows you to move the image and keep adjusting it, which is nice. Okay, there. Now I can hold Shift down. Hit Enter, right? Or scale, and there it is. Now I can add some blending modes to this. So this should look cool too. Now look at that. You're adding some completely new dimensions to it. I don't want to erase anything from it. So I want to just try to use some of these other effects. And man, look at that. You just get some really cool patterns, and really things start to get happening there when you start blending things together in Photoshop. And you can create some really nice digital art. Again, look at that. It just has some really neat patterns to it. And again, just try as many of these as you can and see what you like best. Kind of an overlay and soft light. And maybe a subtle effect is more what you're going for. I really like that. Okay. And, you know, other things you can do is same thing here. Let's go up to Layer, New from Visible. And now we can do some destructive editing on this layer. Let's do brightness and contrast. Do our final adjustments here on this layer. So here I could brighten that up a little if I want to. Probably want to increase the contrast. But if I do that, I've got to get a balance here. And see where I'm going here with this. And you can see now you kind of clarify up your image a little bit more. Click OK. Can you turn that off, and you can see there that that's really enhanced the brightness of the picture. So what this boils down to is that even though you don't have adjustment layers like we have in Photoshop, you can create a new layer over what you've already done up here by clicking Layer, New from Visible, and then just destructively edit that layer above the others so these others remain untouched, and you can keep them the way they are in case you want to go back and start rebuilding and starting from a certain point in your file. But that's how you use the blending modes here in Gimp. And again, it's just a lot of fun, and the fun part is exploring and just seeing where you end up.